Hola. So this is from the PPI manual from like the 90s. And it says for systems over 300 watts, I thought it was 400 watts. For systems over 300 watts, add a ground cable from the amp to the battery. See, they're saying don't attach it to the ground. Why? Because your car chassis was never meant or designed or even thought of when it was built to carry that kind of current. So even at 300 watts, that's only about 30 amps. So I can only imagine if you're one of those guys, I don't want to call you an idiot, but you're fire waiting to happen. If you put in one of those like Terra amps that's like a 8,000 or 12,000 watt amp or 30,000, whatever it is. Say Sparky or Smoky. That's what they're going to call you. Okay. So, and also as far as the ground goes, I'm getting so many macho guys trying to bully me into backing down on my tiny little wire gauge ground that goes to chassis. That's what's hilarious is because like there's this one guy, Bassaholic Productions. Check him out, right? He's a typical, very basic bitch that exists out there. He's probably the loudest guy in his town and all that kind of stuff, and he thinks he's all badass. And we got those guys here. But anyways, those guys you got to understand that those guys have sunk a lot of money into those systems. Okay? So for them to back down and admit that they're just macho assholes, douchebags, that's a big ask. That's a really big ask. You also got to remember that they have their ego and their personality all wrapped up into this thing, right? So what it reminds me a lot of is my father-in-law. My father-in-law, he's got 3 Purple Hearts, right? And he walks around like he's the cat's meow, as they used to say. So like one of them was like from stubbing his toe. Another one was because he tried to stop a bullet. And the other one was for something else. Okay, so 3 Purple Hearts, that's great. But he has a license plate cover that says Vietnam, it was always right. Really, dude? Really? Really? It was always right? So, but that's the kind of guys that you find in these top levels that are willing to spend that kind of money. And if you look at the Basshead, what is it? Basshead Productions? Is it something Bassheadlicious? I don't know, whatever it was. Something Basshead Productions or something like that. You know, these are the douchebags that also run their amps low. You know, this is running at a third of an ohm. I got a beard. Check me out. They're idiots. They're dumb. But they sell, right? Because they take advantage of your vanity, right? To want to be cool, to want to be macho, right? And that's how they get you. Because you're like, well, yeah, I want to be macho. And they're like, well, give me your money. You're only macho and cool if you give me your money, right? Like Steve Meade, right? You're only cool if you buy his little, a speaker box terminal? That's just basically hardware bolts. So dumb. But you know, for every, one sucker born every minute, and also a fool and his money will soon part ways. So all I'm saying is don't be a fool, right? Ask yourself, do I really need to do this? Are there more important things to do? And then I give you a way to do it too. And that's to flip. That's to help people. If you go help enough people, you can get anything that you want. You don't have to rip anybody off. You don't have to belittle anybody. You don't have to put anybody down. Macho kills this sport. Macho kills the industry. Now, somebody like JP, right? He's big, strong, macho that he sells and he makes a lot of money. Right? Because he's taking advantage of your vanity. Most of you guys that buy his stuff end up keeping the amp for 6 months to a year before you even use it. Like, what the fuck is that? You don't need to buy that amp. Start small. Help people. Think about other people in your neighborhood that you can help. So, but I just wanted to show you this. This is from the PPI manual. And it actually, you know, when you think about it, because I talked to several of the engineers that used to work there, and they were having a debate. They said, well, the car chassis was never meant to carry that kind of current. So what's better? Let's say a 5-year-old car, even though most people's cars are 10 years old. It's a 5-year-old car versus an oxygen-free copper or even a straight aluminum piece of wire going directly to the battery. The connection, the wire is a much better conductor than a steel chassis that's bolted together, all right? So, but then, you know, I took that theory and I went and saw Scott Owens. This is back in 2006. Scott Owens, just so you guys know, Scott Owens was fucking breaking. He was the first guy to break 180. Okay, and he's local, and he's not with Rockford or MTX or anybody like that. He did it with Pioneer subs. He did it in a regular ported box with only 8 subs. I think the first time he did it with 13 and sealed, and then he went back and did it again with 8 subs. It was the big SPL Pioneer sub. They don't make anymore. Anyway, he did it with 8 subs, and I asked him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we just go to the chassis." So worked for him. So, you know, again, here's PPI had 40 engineers on staff, and this is what they came up with. Okay, so is there a clear-cut answer? No, but except for use quality connections. Make sure your connections are firm. If they're wiggly, that's no bueno. I prefer to use set screws on your ring terminals, right? You saw those on the battery terminal that I had. I spent the extra $6. Yay to me. Mostly because I'm cheap. I want to use those over and over again. And that's what you can do with a set screw type terminal instead of a crimp type. I've seen these idiots put tons of solder in there. Solder is not a good conductor unless it's in a micro, tiny little bit and you're going like 0.5 millimeter. Yeah, that's fine. But anyways, read some electrical engineering books, even just for fun, and read the loudspeaker cookbook, even an older version, which you can get for like dirt cheap at a used bookstore. Read it, and then read it like a magazine. Read the fun parts first, right? Read the parts that you want to learn about and you want to understand first. Again, don't be macho. Be yourself, right? Which is typically just a nerd. Even though you don't think you're a nerd, right? I remember I came back, I was in the Air Force in my 20s, and I came back to visit, and my mom had like an old 286 machine, and I wanted to download a lot of the homework that I had in high school to a disk. And so I started tapping on it, and I had learned some DOS commands and things like that, and my brother hears me, and he goes, "Ha! I knew it! Nerd!" I was like, "What are you talking? No, what? No. What are you talking about?" He goes, "You're a nerd. I knew you were a nerd." I go, No. I skateboard. I'm into stereos. I'm a cool guy." And he goes, No. He goes, "You know computer languages." And I was like, "Yeah, I do know computer languages." And he's like, "Ha, nerd." And then he goes and plays basketball and smokes weed. So, you know, I'm okay to be a nerd. And, you know, this was in the 90s when it wasn't cool to be a nerd. So just be a nerd. Learn about this stuff. Okay? Be yourself. Take your time. If you're on a budget, help somebody else do something. That's how you make money. Elon Musk talks about this, and I hate when people mention Elon Musk. He's got a lot of things right, and he's got a lot of things going for him. He says the money that you make is directly proportional to the size of the problems that you solve. So there's lots of people in your neighborhood, in your area, that need small problems solved. Sometimes it's right now, shoveling driveways. A lot of kids are not shoveling driveways. They're staying home playing their PS5. They're not making money either. So, and, you know, those are whatever. I don't want to call them bad parents. They're bad parents. They're totally bad parents for letting their kids just fuck around and do whatever the fuck they want. You know, and that's how you get Cartman from South Park. But anyways, I love you guys. Read books. Take your time. Study. Don't let anybody pressure you into buying something you need. And also, if you want to stop buying retail, stay out of the retail shops. Those are nothing but shark nests. That's all they want is your blood, and they will drain every bit of it. So I love you. Stay smart. Stay sharp.